So a speech that took place yesterday, and the Ukrainian president was talking about help that he'd got from around the world, and of course he praised Boris Johnson to the high heavens. He wasn't quite as complimentary about the American president.
To tell you the truth, long ago I asked President Biden for very specific items. He has the list.
President
Biden can enter history as the person who stood shoulder to shoulder with the Ukrainian people, who won and chose the right to have their own country. This also depends on him.
Well, joining me is Susan Platt, former Chief of Staff to Joe Biden. Susan, thank you for coming back on the programme. When Joe Biden was elected, the big cry was America is back, that somehow normal service had been resumed and that America was going to take, a big leadership role in the world. And when Zelensky says that he sent a list of what he needs to the president but hasn't heard back, has Biden walked away from that role?
Good to be with you, Nigel. No, as a matter of fact, I think he's taken a very strong leadership role. I hate to think where we would be if the former president were with us, instead of seeing someone like Boris Johnson walking the streets of Kiev with Vladimir Zelensky, we'd see Donald Trump walking the streets of Moscow with Vladimir Putin. Joe Biden has been leading the way, sending as much items, military weapons that we can. And it's a Herculean task transporting all this material all across the pond, all through Europe and across the border. So I think we've done a good job. He has done a good job of pulling together with NATO, working collectively and getting as much military weapons that we can, as quickly as we can.
Well, I mean, Susan, I would say to you, actually, he was very reluctant to come to Europe, to come to NATO. It took weeks for him to do it. Yes, he hasn't been to Ukraine. I suspect that Donald Trump would have been on whistle-stop tours everywhere, but that's not necessarily the point here. Clearly, Zelensky wants more from America. It just doesn't make sense to me that it's taking so long. Or is it? The fear? Is it the fear that we move? Is it the fear that we move from providing defensive weapons into providing offensive weapons? Is that where the delay is, perhaps?
No, I think the point is that if we had the previous president, they would not be getting weapons at all from us. That we would be friendly with Vladimir Putin and not with Vladimir Zelensky.
No.
I think it is the point. Joe Biden has played and has always played, in terms of formulations, the long game. It's not for a political point of the day or even the week. The long game of supporting our allies, of supporting democracies all across the world. And I think he's done a bang-up job, and we all do, of working together with NATO to get as much reinforcement to Ukraine as we can, as much support we can give them.
Well, Susan, I'm pretty convinced if Trump was in the White House, he wouldn't have invaded at all. I think he'd have been too worried about
And we wouldn't be in NATO. So where would we all be?
No. Actually, what Trump got was the reluctant NATO members to start paying a bit more money. And that surely was a good thing.
Well, that's not really the point here, is it? The point here is protecting Ukraine and protecting democracies and not standing up for horrible terrorists like Vladimir Putin, which is what Donald Trump has been doing for 4 years.
Well, I think that's what I think the Germans are doing a better job of that, though, by buying all this 1 billion euros worth of oil and gas a day. Susan, we agree to disagree, but thank you for coming on and defending President Biden. Thank you.